Well, good evening, beautiful jazz musicians of University Prep. It's time for tonight's Final Delights. Tonight, we have a brand new record to the Parker household. This was delivered to my doorstep tonight. And I have to tell you the story of how this came to be before we talk about the record itself. I mean, it's Dexter Gordon's One Flight Up, by the way, on Blue Note Records. Fabulous record, one of the great records in the Blue Note canon, in my opinion. But the way this got here, I think, is just fantastic. So we are in mostly a quarantine here. We're not supposed to be leaving our houses and interacting with people very much right now. So a lot of record stores are having trouble, obviously. People can't go out to shop. So many of them have been posting online in various ways, and many of them post on Instagram. A lot of record stores are on Instagram. So there's a record store here in town that I love. It's called Beats and Bohos. It's in Greenwood. And it's a record store and a vintage shop. They sell all sorts of amazing stuff there. BJ is the guy who runs it, and he has been posting some records on Instagram for sale, and he posted this one today. I figured, well, I'm not going to go there to get it. I'm quarantined and locked down. Too bad for me. But my friend Steve had purchased some records from him and was going there anyway. And he was picking up my friend Jason along the way. So the two of them went over to Beats and Bohos. I paid them through Venmo. Steve and Jason grabbed the records, dropped it on my doorstep. So how about that? Boom. It takes a village, people. It takes a village to be a record collector. All right, so enough with the origin story. Now to Dexter Gordon. Most of you know my love for Dexter Gordon, one of my favorite tenor saxophone players. The tone, again, we talked about tone yesterday. Again, man, the tone here, he's here one note of Dexter Gordon, and you know it's Dexter Gordon if you're familiar with the way he sounds. He had absolutely unique sound on the tenor saxophone. Kind of old school and modern at the same time. He was straddling that line, I think, at least for me. And his lines are so beautiful and clear. He just was able to just play and play and play. Oftentimes on his records, he definitely dominated the solo space. On this record, everybody gets to stretch out, and the everybody is pretty darn good. This record features Donald Byrd on the trumpet, Kenny Drew on the piano, NHOP on the bass, wonderful bass player based in Europe, and Art Taylor on the drums. In fact, all of these gentlemen lived in Europe at some point. When this record was made, Dexter was living over there for a time. I think Kenny Drew and Art Taylor had already gotten there, and Donald Byrd was sort of popping in and out of Paris at that time. So they recorded this in Paris, 1964, I believe. It's a true classic. This track particularly, it's called Tanya, and it was written by the trumpeter Donald Byrd. This became a big hit. It's side one, and I don't mean it's the first track on side one. I mean it is side one. It's all of side one because it's 17 and a half minutes long or something like that. And everybody gets to stretch out. You get to hear everybody solo on the thing. Art Taylor on the drums is like a miracle on this song. I mean, he's playing for 17 and a half minutes, swinging, and he's so interactive the entire time. Not once do his ears close down or he's like taking a breather. He's just in it. It's quite remarkable. Same thing with NHOP on the bass. Imagine playing a bass line for 17 minutes. Well, any bass player who's played at a jam session will tell you that story, but that's not easy to do. So kudos to the rhythm section here. And then Byrd and Dexter and Kenny Drew just get to solo for what seems like an eternity. Most solos are like a couple minutes long. These solos are probably 3, 4, 5 minutes long, and man, they get to just say and these guys are master improvisers, so they can do that. It's quite a thrill for me. So I hope you'll listen to the whole thing. Again, it's going to take you a minute, but it's a minute well spent. It's just a classic, and it's just such a groove, such a fat groove. The song doesn't go anywhere harmonically, so it's all up to the soloist and the interaction of the rhythm section to propel this song, and they do it for a good 17 and a half minutes. So there you go. Tonight's Vinyl Delights. This is Dexter Gordon's One Flight Up on Blue Note Records. Once again, fantastic Rudy Van Gelder mastering on this one. and pressed in the Plastilite plant. All the geekery you could ever want is on this one as well. Dig it. I hope you like it. And I'll catch you tomorrow for tonight's Vinyl Delights.